Hey guys, it's Roderick. I'm here with another review of The Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 13, Episode 10, The Italian Invasion. Okay, so this episode wasn't really a whole lot, but we did have some good nuggets or whatever like that, and some epiphanies and some good truth reveals. So let's just get right into it, okay? So first starts off with Danielle and Melissa's pop-up at Envy, right? Which again, I thought was a very nice thing for Melissa to do for Danielle, kind of put her on, get her brand out there. Pop-up's going cute, bop, bop, boob. Then here comes Jen Aiden and her messy ass, really trying to stir the pot with Melissa. Like, are you okay with her being a bridesmaid? Is it okay? Blah, 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 blah. Which, one of the problems and one of the things about New Jersey I like about this franchise is I think that for the most part, these women, I want to say maybe 70 to 80% show up authentically as to who they really are, right? The other 20 to 30% is always questionable because you don't know, or you can very much see the producers in the backgrounds kind of marionetting these storylines, right? Because after announcing at the coffee reading, the tea leaf reading or whatever, that they were being bridesmaids, I don't know why Jennifer Aiden would think that it would be her place to see if Melissa's okay with her being a bridesmaid. It's not like Melissa and Jennifer Aiden are that good of a friends or whatever. So I just felt like this was the producers again trying to goad a reaction out of Melissa. And Melissa, for most of this episode, has decided to take the non-engagement route, which I think for the rest of this season is going to be the best thing to do. And Melissa's like, I'm not going to let you bitches see me sweat. And Melissa's like, fine, I'm okay. But it just really seemed like this was the producers trying to goad a reaction on Melissa or get some mileage out of this whole bridesmaid thing, which theoretically would have been good if they had given us the whole Dina backstory as to why, right? So you have to couple the two storylines together. And I felt like this is very lazy producing because they didn't give us the Dina layer. Then they just gave us the Jennifer Aiden Dolores layer. And it's like, Melissa. But Melissa, as they flashback to Melissa said, I didn't want to be in the wedding, right? Because Teresa had asked to be in the wedding. Melissa said, I didn't want to be in the wedding. So why would I feel bad about something that I turned down, right? So I was just like, girl, bye. So then we get into Danielle's talking about the whole situation with Rachel and Rachel Fuda and whatever, and she uses the rat term, which, in Jersey is a really bad pejorative term. And she keeps talking about people to use this term throwing someone under the bus. Someone can't throw you under the bus for something that you said, right? So, as I said last week, Rachel Fuda does not feel bad for what she says and for what she did at all. And I think that that's totally okay, right? So, is Rachel Fuda a rat? Maybe, no, I'll take that back. Is what Rachel Fuda did rat-ish? Possibly, more than likely. But is Danielle not in a whole rat maze with a bunch of other rats? Yes. So Danielle acting kind of brand new about what Rachel Fuda is doing is kind of, once again, reeking kind of non-authentic. Maybe she didn't really think this is how it's going to play out with these women, and maybe she thought that she's going to form these genuine friendships and these people will be trustworthy. Maybe she genuinely thought that, and she is truly hurt by Rachel Fuda's actions. But considering what this franchise is and does and how these people are, I don't know why she's so surprised by this, right? Because for the most part, her and Rachel Fuda have been on the sidelines, and they just were not going to be able to sit on the sidelines for most of this entire season. So I just don't understand why she's being so brand new with this. And I was like, okay, fine. She's a rat. I don't think Rachel Fuda was a rat, as opposed to Rachel Fuda was talked to and be like, okay, you can't sit the storyline, you can't sit the sidelines no more. You need to go back and do this, or pretty much we can guarantee you're not going to be on the show next year because you're not bringing any extra drama. Because Rachel Fuda has no drama, right? Which I think is totally okay. I think it's okay to have a member of the cast who's not running around being messy, being histrionic, throwing shit, and who's just a regular normal person who has a very well-calibrated moral compass. So I think that is okay. But obviously, I'm not producing the show. So they clearly were like, bitch, you need to get in a mess and make some mess. And that's what it is. Now, everyone's getting ready to go to Ireland. And then we get this bullshit with Louis and Teresa, which really annoyed me because he's sitting there, like Louis always looks flushed to me. Like, I don't know whether that's like, because he's tanning and that's like white people, like pre-tan, post-tan, I don't know. He always just has a red hue to him, right? So I don't know what that is. But he's like in this flush mode talking about how he's so exhausted with dealing with Joe. And I was like, nobody told you to go and get yourself involved in this Gorga battle, right? No one told you to insert yourself in Teresa's problems with her brother. The brother she had before she met you, the brother she will have after you leave, after you die, after the world ends. He will always be Teresa's brother. You may or may not be Teresa's husband. Therefore, you have to respect the primacy of relationships, right? So the fact that Louis is all exhausted and talking about, oh, I'm so exhausted, whatever. No one told you to be. No one told you, mind your own business. Mind the business that pays you, right? So I'm just kind of like, Louis, you inserted yourself in this and you found out very quickly that these Gorgas fight long, hard, and dirty. So there's no reason for you to insert yourself. Let Teresa handle her brother however she decides to handle her brother. I understand that, yes, it may be affecting you. You may be like upset because you're seeing your fiance, now wife, upset over this relationship, but she has to handle that without your input, without your guidance, without whatever, because this is her lesson, this is her process, and she doesn't need help dealing with a man that she didn't grew up with and live with for 18 years of her life, right? So I just think that Louis just needs to mind his own business. And we're going to get back to this mind your own business theme because there are a couple more people on this cast that just needs to mind their own fucking business, okay? Now, we get to Jen Aiden, who's still on her bullshit, which I've now decided this whole storyline with Bill and the kids, I'm calling Fugazi on this, right? Because it looked like when they were sitting in the bedroom talking, it looked as if like she was like holding back from laughing because, okay, this is why I'm calling Fugazi. Jennifer Aiden was introduced to us in this cast coming from a very traditional, conservative Turkish family, right? Her brother went across the country, went across the world, the finest bride, very traditional Turkish upbringing, right? Which is also where Bill is from. She found this man, she married this man, she giggled, she showed off the ring, she made her single friends feel bad, she marries this person, she marries this busy, successful doctor, moves into this big palace, excuse me, my throat's dry, and now all of a sudden, she's like, okay, this isn't what I signed up for. Stop it. Stop it. I don't believe that one bit, right? Do I believe that she wants Bill to help out more with the kids? Yes. Do I believe that she wants Bill to be more present in their relationship? Yes. But do I believe that it's at the level of which she's trying to make it out to be? No. Why? Because I don't believe her Turkish mother would let her keep on going around embarrassing her husband on television because her mother would say, you know what? A lesser bitch can come in and do your job 10 times better, right? Now, I don't really see it happen for Jennifer Aiden. But I do have to say that for what she kind of brings to this relationship, she looks nice, she looks well, she takes care of the kids. I think that's all Bill really wants, right? But a lesser younger bitch can come in here and do her job 10 times better with less lip, right? And I don't believe her mother will have her fuck up the church's money, the PTA money, and the school fund all over this bullshit, right? Because no one's gonna fumble a whole ass bag like this. So that's why I'm calling Fugazi on this whole Jen Bill thing, because Bill just sits there looking at her like, yeah, like literally like he's already squirreling away money, hiding money from her. So when he decides to leave her, he's gonna have like $10,000 left. Like that's kind of what Bill's face giving me is like, here we go with this bullshit again. Like it really is just like a made up storyline because Bill does not look plussed, right? And most men, after you talk about them for something for over and over again, they're going to get frustrated and be like, why the fuck you keep talking about this with me? And Bill's looking non-phased at all like, okay, here we go again. So until I see more evidence, I'm just going to call this bullshit or whatever like that, right? So they get in Ireland, they're on the bus, and Jen Fessler is talking about how she fucked James Gandolfini, which I was like, fantastic. Like I have been a Jen Fessler fan for the most part because again, she brings the requisite amount of realism to this cast that I think is necessary because otherwise they'll just be operating inside this delusional bubble. And I think that that's what Jen Fessler brings. So I really have liked Jen Fessler. So her fucking James Gandolfini, I'm like, 2 thumbs up, perfect, right? Then we have this whole, like, this room fiasco, which I don't understand why that's such a big thing in the Housewives franchise, whether it's New Jersey or Atlanta or Miami or Dallas. Like, the whole room picking thing is such a staple now of the Housewives franchise, and I don't understand why it's a big thing, right? Like, unless you're staying at your house or a place that you pay for, just get the fucking room, right? Like, I just don't understand why it's become a thing, but the producers like to make it a thing, right? So they get the rooms, child. I was like, okay. I mean, a room, who's going to complain about a room you don't pay for? But whatever, right? So now we get done, and we get to this lunch fight, right? And pretty much Jennifer Aydin admits that she was at lunch. Here's the true tea what happened. Jennifer Aydin went to bed, started smoking her marijuana. They started running off at the mouth with the coffee with the tea leaf lady, and may have dropped some tidbits that may have informed her psychic reading, okay? That's what happened. That's what she admits, right? And Marge's analogy about the jury tampering thing, not necessarily on point, but we get the analogy, right? Like, you can't go around telling a psychic who's supposed to not know anything about whatever, right? And then we get into this whole, like, this lore subplot that starts to rear its ugly head at lunch, right? And I'm like, oh, fuck, here we go with this lore subplot or whatever. And, you know, the reason I think Margaret is upset is because Margaret knows what Jennifer knows, what Teresa knows, and Margaret is emotionally intelligent enough to know the difference between innocent innuendo and vile gossip, right? So Jennifer Aydin wants to say that the situation that she's been told what Laura told her is the same as what Margaret did to her. They are not the same. They may be the same topic or realm, but Margaret had facts. Margaret just repeated a fact that Jennifer Aydin did not want repeated on television, right? That's just a fact. Your husband cheated on you. You didn't want anybody to know. Fact, 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 fact. So when we get to this Laura subplot, which I was very surprised that they were going to spill the beans this early about what I thought, sure, they're going to drag this out for a couple more episodes. We get this vile gossip that Melissa was caught in a car making out with some guy. The guy went and told Margaret. Margaret told Laura, right? So Danielle, mind your own business, it goes to Jennifer Aydin's room to figure out what it was. Do I think that naturally Danielle may have wanted to know? Yes. Do I think the producers were like, go find out and go have Jennifer Aydin say it, say it on camera? Absolutely. So I thought the producers pushed Danielle to go to Jennifer Aydin's room to find out this vile gossip. Why do you say it's vile gossip? There is no proof, right? So, and the fact is, Marge knowing this is why Marge has not repeated it, right? Because Marge, being a pro at this, who always needs a storyline, right? She could have gone to Melissa, said, "This is what I heard. I think you need to be armed, blah, 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 blah." Marge could have played this 10,000 different ways if Marge thought there was some proof or there was some validity to it, right? Marge heard the gossip, told her best friend, her and the best friend no longer friends anymore. The best friend goes to Teresa, right? And Jennifer Aydin, and reveals all this information, right? I'm just like, this is mess. And this is what vile gossip is, right? It's the difference between vile gossip and innuendo. And that's why Marge has not repeated it. And so for Jennifer Aydin to repeat it and then blame Marge for having the arsenal. Marge hadn't said a word. At this episode, Marge has not repeated the gossip. It was Jennifer Aydin who repeated the gossip, right? So for Jennifer Aydin to try to loop this into Marge has nothing to do with it, right? Because Marge never repeated it. She heard it, she told her best friend, and did it right there. It's only when Teresa and Jennifer Aydin picked this up. So I just find this to be messy, borderline cruel. And if you want to ask me personally, because Teresa did the same thing to Melissa several earlier seasons when she first got on the show about her being a stripper and her having sex with this random guy. And if Teresa really thought that this was something true, Teresa would have said something, right? Or, so I really think, so this is just really another way again, we're talking about proxy wars, another way at Teresa to get at Melissa, but not directly through her, because Teresa was the one who spilled it, using Jennifer Aydin. Because it's very obvious we're watching that Jennifer Aydin and Melissa and Teresa are in this kind of teacher-pupil kind of relationship, and Teresa's showing her the ropes. But Jennifer Aydin needs to do some after-school classes because she fucked up later on in the episode, right? So then we get to the bar. We get our two weeks countdown for the wedding. Everything's going great. And then all of a sudden, Jen Fessler opens her mouth and was like, okay, why didn't you invite them to the wedding? Ba ba boom. And we get this whole back to the Battle of the Gorgas thing. So this is, now I finally kind of have figured out what the timeline and chronology is what's going on, okay? So follow me here, okay? Teresa gets engaged. She does the reunion, right? They haven't really made any wedding plans by the time the reunion from season 12 happens, right? But she knows she's still feeling some way against Marge, and she's feeling some way against Melissa and her brother, right? She has a whole bitch boy fight with her brother. At this point, Dolores is not invited to the engagement party, nevertheless a bridesmaid or whatever, because Teresa's not really been thinking about this wedding that much anyway. So, Teresa starts making wedding plans, right? Comes over to 200 people. She's like, fuck, you know what? I didn't invite fucking Melissa's mom, right? Because Teresa has been Italian as long as I've been black, right? So when we are at our age, you know certain customs, certain traditions based upon your community and your customs. I do not believe that Teresa did not know that she should have invited Melissa's mother. I think she did not want to invite Melissa's mother, right? So then Teresa's like, fine, okay, I'm not going to invite Melissa's mother. If Joe calls and makes a stink, I'll fucking at her, right? Joe and Melissa do not call Teresa because they're waiting for her to do it. And then when they realize that she hasn't done it and filming starts, they're like, okay, this could be our little storyline, plot line for the next season, right? Because Dolores, once again, sliding in with MVP status again for this episode. I really came into this season, wanted to give Dolores the business every day, but Dolores is earning her keep and really is showing up because she says the same thing that everyone else says. Why did you not call Joe and Melissa? All you had to do was call. Because I believe that if Joe and Melissa had called Teresa, it would have been resolved one way or another. Do I believe Teresa would have put the mother and added the mother to the wedding? Maybe, maybe not. But then, as Dolores says, if Teresa said, no, I don't want to invite her because she was talking all this bullshit on social media, then you have a legitimate gripe. But you can't gripe, you can't complain or be angry at someone about something you want from them and you don't ask them, right? And that's the crux of Teresa's argument. She falls back on, okay, I'm a person, I make mistakes. The closest to the apology we'll get from Teresa, but it's true, right? She's like, okay, fine, it was an oversight. Didn't mean it. You all just called me, I would have fixed it. Is that true? We don't know, but you got to take Teresa's word for it because guess what? You didn't ask me, right? So you can't be mad at me. Then we get Jennifer Aydin almost fucking up the whole thing when she goes and tells Melissa, when she wasn't minding her own business, that you were just invited on an obligation. If you go back and watch the episode, look at Teresa's face. Teresa is mortified because Jennifer Aydin is spilling confidential tea and she's inserting herself in this Battle of the Gorgas, and it's not going to end well, as we can see for anyone who inserts himself into it. So she just inserts herself and was like, you're on an obligation. Do I believe that Teresa told Jennifer Aydin, you know what, I gotta fucking invite Melissa. If I don't, it'll be a shitstorm? Absolutely. Do I believe that Melissa is an obligatory invite? Absolutely. So do I believe that Jennifer Aydin should have repeated that? Absolutely not, right? So again, Jennifer Aydin just borderlines on petty, messy, and cruel that it amazes me how she could just be so upset with Marge, who was, I want to say, intentionally cruel. See, the difference between Marge and Jennifer Aydin is Marge, when she shoots, she doesn't miss, right? When Marge is the whole saying, if you're gonna kill the king, if you're gonna shoot the king, kill the king, Marge does not miss with her shots. Jennifer Aydin is just like spraying it around, and random people get hit, right? March doesn't miss, right? So then Teresa has to step in and do this cha-cha slide. And again, kudos to Melissa for just being like, you know what? I'm not going to engage. This is for you. I don't think in negative thoughts. Because she realizes she just can't win with Teresa, because Teresa is never going to say, you know what? I'm sorry. Melissa is going to always stand up for her husband, right? And not offer any apologies until Teresa offers her apology. So we keep going with the Battle of the Gorgas, which is why everybody is so fucking exhausted with this, right? Because at any point, Joe and Melissa could have called Teresa, said, hey, invite my mother. Teresa said A or B, yes or no, and then we move on to some type of resolution. But everybody is really competing, like I said last week, in the gold medal for the Hurt Olympics, that nobody is willing just to dead it for the sake of being dead, right? No one's willing to dead it for the sake of being dead. And I get the sense that even Teresa is tired of this, because she's like, I keep believing Teresa's like, I can find other things about y'all that I don't like about you versus this shit, right? And I think she's just kind of annoyed that this storyline keeps going on and on, because she's like, I can find other shit about y'all that I can use to fucking run y'all into the ground, as we'll see with this whole Laura subplot, right? So, whatever. So then, that pretty much is the episode. It just kind of ends there. Then we'll get the whole Ireland thing. I'm just kind of annoyed because I think that this episode would have been 10 times better if the producers weren't constantly trying to prod, and instigate conflict, right? We could have had an entire episode where all these ladies went to Ireland and they genuinely had fun, right? Yeah, I don't fuck with this bitch. I don't fuck with this bitch. Yeah, keep your name on my mouth. A little yum 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 here. But it just seemed like every episode, it's obvious that there has to be some kind of conflict or drama that's based off ridiculousness as to some shit that you just gotta let slide, right? None of these women let shit slide. Everything has to be out in the open, confrontational, and that's not how people work, right? Why? Because A, you get popped in your mouth more times than 9 times out of 10, and B, no one's gonna be friends with you, right? So that's why these kind of manufactured dramatics that kind of happen just kind of become grating, because we could have had an entire episode of these women in Ireland having a good time together, and I don't think it would have taken away from any impending drama or any past drama. It would have been what's known in filmmaking as pacing, right? And I think that's what they're trying to do with these last 2 episodes, is slow down the pace and have like these nice, okay moments with a little sprinkle of drama. But we don't always need never-ending conflict, right? And again, and on my final note, like, why is Jackie there? Like, I like Jen Fessler, but I mean, I don't get like why Jackie's still lingering around being messy, but that's neither here or that. I did like how Dolores gave the women are talking to at lunch, being like, let's be clear, bitches. Ain't gonna be no shit. It don't have no shit. You're gonna be breaking shit. She's like, leave that shit in Jersey. I got my deposit. I think I got my man's the money up mixed up in this shit too. So don't be trying to fuck up my money, breaking shit up in this house, right? That was Dolores' low-key, rude way of telling them, ain't no fighting or throwing shit going on up in this house. Which again, I really like too. So anyway, if you're new to this channel, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, hit the alert button. We got some more shows coming up. I'm gonna do a review on the second part of You, and also Netflix show The Inside Man. If you haven't watched it yet, go and watch it. I'm gonna do a video with that coming up this weekend. So anyway, thanks guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye.